Just how much does population lead to profit? Or is being popular online more profitable? Let's find out. Okay, so the first comparison we have is between city population and social media following. Do the big market franchises have the biggest followings online? Well, in short, the answer is no. The relationship is the weakest we're going to look at. You can see the trend line there in gray with an R-squared of just 0.07. The worst offenders are the Knicks, Nets, and Clippers. Despite their huge markets, the teams have a relatively pedestrian social media presence. And then once again, we have the Lakers and Warriors towering over everybody else. But let's zoom in here on the rest of the pack. You can see the teams with the worst engagement online relative to their city populations are at the bottom, like the Wizards, Pistons, and Hawks. And then on the top, we have the teams that are popular online relative to their population, the Cavaliers, the Heat, the Celtics, the Rockets, and the Bulls. And then we have this trio of popular small market teams, the Thunder, the Bucks, and the Spurs. Okay, moving on, next we're going to use city population again, but this time we're going to compare it with revenue. You can see now how the trend line here looks stronger. Sure enough, the R-squared is higher at 0.2. And that's despite the fact that the Warriors are throwing it way off up here at the top. If you exclude the Warriors, the R-squared actually goes up to 0.4, so a fairly decent correlation. Over here on the right, we have the 4 huge market teams from New York and LA, all doing fairly well in terms of revenue. Then let's zoom in once again on the rest of the pack down here. Again, the teams at the top are doing the best financially, and you can see that it's mostly the bigger markets like the Bulls and the Mavericks, or the really popular teams like the Celtics. Then over here on the left, you see just how successful the Bucks have been financially relative to their population. The Giannis championship bump is real. And then finally, on the bottom, we have the teams earning the least relative to their populations. Again, we have the Hawks, Wizards, and Timberwolves as some of the worst performers. This also illustrates just how difficult it is to compete financially for the smallest market teams like the Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Thunder. Unless you happen to have a global superstar 2-time MVP, you're almost certainly going to be amongst the least profitable teams as a tiny market. Alright, and finally, we have our last graph here. This one is comparing team revenue with social media following. And surprisingly, this is our strongest correlation yet. The R-squared is 0.7, so even though correlation does not equal causation, it seems safe to say that the most popular teams, as indicated by social media following, are also the most profitable teams, and that makes sense. So once again, it's a similar story, with the Warriors towering over the rest of the pack, followed by the Lakers. But after those two, we can zoom in on the rest here, and you can see the outliers like the Knicks, Nets, Clippers, and Mavericks, who are highly profitable despite their underwhelming presence on social media. And then on the right, we have the Cavaliers, who are the opposite, underwhelming profitability despite their large following online. And then you have the rest of the teams clustered down here at the bottom. You can see the Pacers peeking out down there as the least profitable team last season. Okay, so that's it. Our 3 data sets for the 30 NBA franchises: market population, social media following, and profitability. At first, I wanted to just compare NBA markets in terms of population, but then I kept getting pulled down different rabbit holes until we ended up here. I was fascinated by the correlations between the 3 data sets, especially how strong the correlation was between a team's social media following and its profitability. If you think there are other related factors that could be compared with these, let me know and we can continue to compare and contrast. Or if you have any other thoughts or explanations on these graphs, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in to NBA Recap.